Hey
This
everyone.
meeting is being recorded.
Yeah, so the meeting's being recorded, just so you're all aware. Jay's recorded us for this session. So yeah, good afternoon. I'm assuming this would have been face-to-face, but given the current circumstances, we are using the world of technology. So happy to meet you via virtual grounds. So my name is Sophia Hayward Atkinson. I work at Tech Data and work within the Tech as a Service division. Been at the organisation now for just over 2.5 years. My role is predominantly around Tech as a Service and how we bring this solution to our partners and how we can benefit things like technology, especially in days like today, and make it more cost effective for your customers as well. So the objective today is to go through what Tech as a Service is, the reason why Tech Data thought it was important to invest millions into getting this proposition out, not only in the UK, but into Europe. We'll also do a few examples of what that looks like from a kit perspective over the HPE and the Aruba range. And then we'll also do a live demo, which my colleague on the call, Elliot, will be able to take you through. Please may I ask that questions are left till the end. There's a lot of you on the call today, so I don't want people tripping up and asking questions, but there is a chat box. If you haven't used Zoom before, if you click the bottom bar at the side of the Zoom session, you will see a little chat box here, and you're able to write some questions there if you want me to answer any questions at that moment in time, if that's okay. Okay, so I'll start. What is Tech as a Service? What is subscription? So this word does hold many meanings within our industry and within our consumer lifestyle as well, effectively. So I assume everyone on the call, if they do not have it, will have it now. We'll have a subscription to Netflix because we're going to need that through these times. You will find that things like cars, PCP, car automotives offer a subscription type model, which is associated with having the latest and greatest vehicle over 2 or 3 years, and then every 2 or 3 years hand the car back and you either get a brand new vehicle to continue the term. As I mentioned before, Netflix, Apple Pay, Disney TV, Sky, all these things that we use in our day-to-day life are effectively subscriptions. We use it for a service, we pay on a monthly subscription, and we keep paying to use the service. You will hear different analogies of software as a service, PC as a service. There's many different acronyms out there at this moment in time, but effectively underlying, it's paying a monthly cost per month for the service that you're entitled to for that product. Nowadays, and to be fair, I use this today, so Waitrose in our consumer world also use this. So if you shop at Waitrose, there is a subscription shopping membership, which effectively means that every month you'll put on your normal shopping basket that you consistently buy at, and then every single month they will deliver that to your door and take out of your bank a continual subscription price based on the continual shopping that you're doing. And with the prescription, you're also able to take off an add-on also. So we're also moving into it in regards to our retail world as well. I'm going to guess that these 4 categories on the screen, at least one of you will fit into one of them or more. So the reason why subscription was so important for us as Tech Data is, I think it was around 4 years ago, Tech Data had a conversation with our European board, and the conversation was effectively what is out there at the moment. How can we help our resellers sell more kit for our vendors, and give our end users, give your customers, the resellers' customers, a better solution to buy technology often. What can we do to create this? What was missing in the market that people weren't doing? What wasn't missing in the market was subscription. What we found out was that the demand for subscription services increased by 80%. And the main leaders of this, and the main reason why this obviously evolved quite quickly, was the demand on cloud. The moment the cloud entered into our worlds, the moment we started to see the benefit of services. Not only that, once you start seeing the benefit of software services, you also need to remember that actually in order to use that software and that service, it may come with something like a laptop or a mobile phone or a server. Hardware is also attached to some of these services that we so desperately need. These reports I'm about to show you right now, we went to the market and we did a lot of market research to understand the demand, not only from our vendors, the demand from our resellers as well and our end users. We found a massive demand for services and software. We also found a way that actually people wanted to make it a lot more easier. How can we make it easier for our resellers to offer a solution where they can sell a laptop with a license and they can pay on a monthly perspective and hand the kit back and get the brand new latest technology? How can we facilitate that solution? We've done it. About 4 years ago, we invested in an organization called ATCO, where Tech Data owned 58% share of that organization, which is effectively a software organization. And the software organization has built in the background of our InTouch platform, which we'll demonstrate to you later, a complete API which links in the customer journey straight through to purchasing and creating a basket into a subscription offering price for the resellers. Give me a second. So with this demand, we could see that there was a demand for the subscription services within our sector, within our market. So what we did was we created a team of financial, bear with me a second, guys. I've got people mowing the lawn. Hope you can hear me okay. Perfect. So with this demand, we went to market with a couple of resellers, and we found that actually the demand for this was substantial, especially in the market today where equipment and technology was highly expensive. Resellers couldn't afford to be purchasing this equipment with cash. And also we found that the end users didn't want to pay full invoice values for technology that would definitely in 3 years need to be upgraded. So we created a solution called Tech as a Service with the option of subscription-based finance. The concept is that we're able to transform a completely different way of producing and buying technology. It no longer will be a capital purchase. It will be a subscription-based model purchase, which people are used to facilitating in their B2C world, and we brought that straight into their B2B world. The opportunity for the reseller is that it improves margins massively, because the ability to add on additional margins whilst using a residual value-based subscription model will allow them to add more margin on, opposed to them selling from an invoice value perspective. We'll demonstrate this later. I think once the demo is shown, you'll be able to see how much margin and how easy it is for the reseller to make a lot more money than they could do selling it via cash. It creates massive potential business opportunities. So I always use this example when I demo. A couple of years ago, we had a school come to Tech Data asking for laptops, and they had a budget of 30 grand. We hit them back with not only the price for 30 grand worth of laptops, we did it on a Tech as a Service quote. They came back to us and increased that total invoice value to 300 grand. Because effectively within their budget, they could afford the monthly costs for more laptops than they could buying it outright with 30 grand. It changes the competitive nature of any deal. So this is a massive benefit to our resellers. They're no longer competing with their competitors on a price per price basis. They're no longer having to drop down margins of £10 here or £50 there, because no one really understands or knows what's within the residual value deal. They just see a price per month. They don't see a 10 grand invoice value. So from a competitive perspective, our resellers are winning a lot more business. From a vendor's perspective, we're able to push the message to our resellers that they need to drive more refresh-like technology deals. They need to educate their customers about the demand of having the latest and greatest technology. So if their end user has a laptop or a particular IT equipment that they've had for 5 years, they're confident and more comfortable in selling new equipment via our vendors quicker and faster. And they're looking to refresh it as well. They're looking to go back there every 2 to 3 years, opposed to every 5 to 6 years. So it's the benefit for the vendor is our resellers are actually actively buying a lot more kit and a lot quicker also. The outcomes, it shortens technology refresh cycles. That's what I just spoke about. I think in the IT industry, the normal refresh cycle was around 6-7 years. The moment that your laptop hit 3 years in the IT world, it would go to the IT management sector. That would be refurbished and it would be reused again for some other colleague. However, what we're seeing is that the demand on having the latest and greatest technology actually increases performance from that colleague. So no one wants a second-hand laptop anymore. People want the new latest laptops, and organizations need to continue to be updated on the demand for that. Improves profitability throughout the channel. Once we do a demo, you'll see the benefit of this. So because we are using residual values, it means that the end user will always pay less than capital cost because they're handing the kit back. So, you know, the benefit for them from a financial perspective is it's a no-brainer for them not to do tech as a service. We are one of the first disties to do this. A lot of our other competitors are trying to do something like this, but they're not fully integrated and have the full working arounds of their solution fixed yet. I believe that we are 2 years ahead of our competition, and we're always innovative and coming up with quirky and new ways of making this program even more slicker and more effective for our channel. Some example pricing. We'll do some iPads. It kind of puts it into perspective. So we have 100 Apple iPads here at this moment in time, 128 gigabyte. It includes installation and carriage. Now, obviously, this is a multi-vendor prop that we do offer, and this presentation is presented based on every single vendor that we deal with. So this is purely from a demo, an example perspective. The total order, which would the reseller would have to offer their end user, would be a total of 44,780. Now, when someone sees this figure of literally just shy of 45 grand, today, especially today, no one is willing to pay that price upfront in cash. So if they need the 100 laptops, we're dealing with schools at this moment in time. Every single school is asking us for computers to obviously educate their children at home. Schools cannot afford this price. However, if you give the school the price of, it's actually £1,133 per month for 100 Apple iPads, for example, or it's £37 per user per day for 3 years, it's a lot more palatable for the school. The benefit you've got is the school, if they do subscription and they go with the 3-year option, they also pay less, which is 40,789, than they would pay when they pay outright. So we're saving the school money also. The reason why we're saving the money is because obviously the kit has to come back to us. Kit comes back to us, we data wipe it, we refurbish it, and then we as Tech Data send it out to third world countries, and obviously it can be reused in that manner. There is a couple of options at the end, which there's going to be questions around options at the end when it comes to subscription. We have a couple. One will be they can come back with the devices. Well, we'll obviously let you know. I think it's 12, 9 and 3 months towards the end of the term. We'll let you know that the kit is due back to us. Once that kit comes back, or you're in talks with your reseller, and your reseller's in talks with their customers, they can hand it back and walk away. We will collect the kit. The pricing is already included in the price of the subscription. We will collect the kit. We will data wipe it, and if they want to walk away, they can walk away without having to buy any more new equipment. If they want to bring it back and refresh, which is everyone's ideal solution, then they can do that. We facilitate obviously a refresh with them. And the other options that we have are they can extend the existing contract up to 12 months. where they just continue to pay per month. And then if we've had resellers recently come back to us and say, actually, I want to own the kit. Can I buy the kit? We will deal with them to buy the kit. We'll give them a fair market value price based on that time and that month for the equipment. And they also can buy the equipment if they wish to do so. So we have many options for our channel at the end of the term. A few more examples here in regards to price booking. Our program and our proposition, it covers the total portfolio of tech data. So when it comes to HPE or Aruba, the guys on the phone, your equipment base and your product suite will be 100% covered by our tech as a service proposition also. So I think what I'm going to do now is take you straight to our demo. Elliot, are you online?
Yep, I am.
So I'm going to stop sharing. So guys, this will make it a lot more easier to explain. So Elliot works for our team. Elliot, you can give yourself a quick intro, but Elliot will do a bit of a demo on our Tech as a Service InTouch platform, and you'll be able to see how easy it is for our resellers to obtain HPE kit or Aruba kit and obtain that into a basket and then move on to subscription.
Hi guys, so I believe Sophia's already given me a little brief introduction before the start of the call, but I work alongside with Sophia. So I'm one of the business development executives for TaaS. I'm mainly based internal within the tech data based in Stoke office. But yeah, I help out also with tech as a service as well. So what I'll do now is I'll show you a walkthrough of our portal. So I'm guessing you guys have all been on InTouch. So obviously InTouch is our own tech data's ordering website. So first of all, and this is what we always say to our resellers when we give our presentation, is load up InTouch and then create a new basket. So for instance, first of all, you need to click on the little drop down arrow here, create basket.
Elliot, I can't see anything on your screen.
There we go. Is it all working and sharing there?
Bear with me a second, it's thinking about it. Yep, you're on.
Cool, it's a bit delayed. So what you need to do is click on create basket and then pop up, would you like to create a basket? If it's gonna work. If not, I've already created one. So what we'll do first of all is we'll just add in some, well, as Sophia was saying, all of our items on InTouch, you can do tech as a service on them. So if we, for instance, type in some surfaces, there we go. So if we went on to Surface Book 2 down here, if we added 15 of those into our basket, and then if we clicked on continue, and then most people who do get a Surface like a Surface mouse, so if we get 15 of these, just to show that you can put accessories in, add into basket, and let's go for some, just to show that it's multi-vendor, so HP EliteBooks. So if we went in and added 15 of these in, and then continue, and then let's say you had some employees as well, they also want some mobile phones. If we typed in iPhones, and then if we put in iPhone 11 Pro, so if we put in 15 of these in, continue, and just to show that you can add other accessories in, so iPhone 11 here, 15 cases. And then to load up our tech service portal, what you then need to do is click on the drop down arrow here and click on open basket. Again, it pulls through what we've put into our basket. This is where most people do freak out at this bit, because I'm going to click on checkout. You don't need to worry about this, because what it's practically doing is like you've walked into a shop, you've picked up a basket, you're now putting all of your shopping items into a basket. And then halfway through, you decide that you don't want to get those items anymore. So you would leave them by the till and walk straight out of the shop. This is what practically checkout does.
Elliot, sorry, just before you carry on, just to demonstrate to everyone, could you add in like a HPE server or an Aruba part?
Sure.
Just so everyone's got the confidence of seeing it live.
That's right. Do you have, it would come under networking, wouldn't it? And hub and switches for Aruba stuff and HPE?
To be fair, if you just search Aruba or HPE into the search bar and just add any part, just to prove the concept.
Cool.
Jay, just a quick one. There's a message that's come through from James Thacker around microservers. Do we have them on InTouch?
We do have microservers on InTouch. The whole ProLiant range is on there. So.
Perfect. Okay. So James, to answer your question, yes, we do. Can you do, hang on a second, I'm reading some messages out. Can you just do this for stock or CTO? We can do it for everything. For the integration here, it can go straight through via stock, but we also offer the same solution via CTO. I hope that answered your question, Andy. If not, let me know. Sorry, Elliot, continue.
That's all right. So added in some stuff, Jay. Let me just go to the basket. So I've added in some HPE Aruba and the AP 515 and the HPE DL360 as well. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to click on checkout.
Perfect. Before you do that, I just want to explain something. So people are talking about GreenLake, the HP FS or GreenLake. So GreenLake proposition is completely different to our Tech as a Service proposition. So Tech as a Service is a subscription residual value based model where the reseller is, one, fully aware of the total invoice value, and two, the end user is fully aware of how much they're going to pay per month. It never fluctuates up or down. It's a fixed monthly cost. So from a GreenLake perspective, we're very transparent when it comes to how much that end user will pay back. It doesn't change. From a HPE FS, I believe HPE FS do offer a operating residual value lease. So it'll probably be the same, but we have particular residual values based on the particular vendor. So we're very agile when it comes to that. We also offer finance also. But yeah, HPFS will do something similar to us, but I believe that we are a lot more integrated and a lot more integrated with the vendors around what their kit is to provide the right residual value base for them. So I hope that answers everyone's questions. Perfect.
So the next step that then you guys need to do is it pulls it through into the final third bit. When a customer's all signed up to Tech Service, they'll then have this banner across down here. What they'll then need to do is click on Build Subscription. So what I need to do is, does now is it brings up our portal into a separate window. So what I'll do is I'll firstly start off with the first bit, so the subscription quotation, first box here, quote reference. So just like any tech data quote, we would need to name it something. So if we put in HPE example, then what it also does is it brings through obviously the InTouch basket. If you've named the InTouch basket, it will bring through the name there. I've just left it as a generic 202 number, which it brings through. Then the next step is your reseller will need to select the entity type. So all of our subscriptions go out to obviously independent education, limited company, LLP, local authority, other partnership, sole trader and state education. But for today, just to keep it simple, we'll keep it as another limited company. Then we'll need to select, is this a new customer of yours? So I'm going to pretend today, yeah, they are a recurring customer. So, and then keep the subscription type as that. The great thing about our portal is, and this is a really great party piece, which we have, is all of these boxes down here and now linked into Company's House. So Company's House is where you get all of the information for a company. So for instance, if we type in here, tech data, then Tech Data Limited, As you can then see, pulls through our UK company number, our postcode, customer trading address, so someone in Basingstoke, and our incorporation date and any other details. Your reseller will then need to move on to the next step, which is selecting a contact name. So this is who will be signing for the subscription, so the end user. So for instance, if we select Andrew Gass, and then the authorized signatory name on the document will be Andy Gass as well. And then I won't fill out this bit, but it's all free type. So then your reseller would then need to type in Andy Gass's email into there. The next bit that then moves us on. So this is where Sophia was saying about seeing the pricing examples. This is where it becomes a little bit clearer compared to on the PowerPoint. So what I would always recommend, first of all, is go through the category just to make sure that everything is selected correctly. So we can see that one of the HPE things isn't pulling through. So as it's a physical item, it will be hardware. So select that as hardware. And then the next step, which your reseller would then need to do is, obviously they're not going to sell this all at cost. So they're in touch pricing. They're not going to put that on for their customer. Of course, they want to be able to include their margin in there. And this is where you can hide your margin. So there's 3 ways of adding the margin in from your reseller's point of view. So the first bit is you can use the commission rate and leave everything as 0. So this is a flat rate margin, which applies to all lines. So you can go through and select up to 10% on this bit. The next bit is you can, as it's all free type on the sale and margin column, is if you go into the sale here, you could then edit the price here. Let's say if we can put it for 250.85. Then what it does is it pulls through a auto calculated margin already there, and it applies it onto the total. And the third way is you can actually type into the margin column, and let's say you can put 12% there, 15 down here, 7, 10, 13, 11, and 18%. So, along with a lot of, well, our resellers, what they then tend to do is they like to add on their own services, because we want to make it one complete package for them to offer out to their end users. So what you need to do is click on add item. You can then type in, let's go HPE install. And then you would select this as a soft cost. And then as this is pure margin for the customer, they only really need to type it into the cost bit here. So let's say to install all of this equipment here, it's good, well, they're going to charge £4,500. And what that does is it adds it onto the total for you. And then they can add on ongoing services. So for instance, HPE callouts. Then you'd select this as a ongoing service. And then let's say you were going to charge £85 per call out. And for the subscription duration, let's say if we were going to keep this for a 3-month subscription duration, you're going to offer over the course of 3 years, 45 call outs. And just to build upon this, your resellers, they don't have to obviously add in their services. They could purely go for a 100% software subscription. They could do 100% hardware, or they can do a mixture. That's also the great thing with our portal. It allows that flexibility. So the next bit which we need to move on to is the subscription duration. So with our subscriptions, you can choose from 12, 18 months, 24, 30, 36 months. The most generic one, 36 months, or keep it as that. And then the next step would be payment refrequency. So payment refrequency is how the end user is going to pay it back. So are they going to pay it back yearly, quarterly, or monthly? So yearly will work out cheapest because they're paying more money back up front. Quarterly is then the second, and monthly is the most expensive option as they're paying less money up front each time, but we'll keep it as quarterly. And as you can see, it changes the prices down here. Well, for the price breakdown, so it'll be 12 quarterly repayments of £11,342.92. You've then got your per month price, your per week, and your per day price. But the other great feature is with our portal, you can also add in the number of seats. So just for this example, I kept it simple. So there's going to be 15 seats, as there's 15 items each there. So we put in 15. It then gives a per day per head or per seat price. So a lot of resellers for their end users, they do look into a per head per seat price, as this makes it well, more attractive, and they can see where the exact pennies or pounds are going per head. And then the commission rate box, again, it can have a second use to add, for instance, if they've gone back to their back to their end user and said, oh, well, if they're going to get this on the capital, it's going to be 145,000. They could add in more commission to try and boost it up to that figure, but that's totally up to them. If they want to do that, obviously we don't have to advise on that because it's their margin at the end of the day. Then the final bits that your reseller would then need to go on to is onto these final hyperlinks down here. So save the quote, that's pretty self-explanatory. It will just save the quote and then go back to the homepage of our portal. Save and continue, it's just exactly like a Word document. You would click on save and you can still type and continue and edit afterwards. We then have the download PDF button, but I'll come back to that in a moment, because I would recommend that they click on convert quote to subscription first of all, because this enables our finance company to check through that the customer's all legit and they're ready and they're acceptable to start paying, or they will be accepted for the subscription. So the great selling point with our tech as a service portal is that any quotes £45,000 and under take no longer than 3 minutes. For our finance company to go through, check and approve, and feedback to our resellers. Anything over that £45,000 threshold limit, they will take no longer than 45 minutes to check through and make sure that the end user and all the items in here are all good to go onto subscription. Then we then have the InTouch button. It's pretty self-explanatory again, takes you straight back to InTouch. Now, what I'll do is I'll go back onto the download PDF. So once your customer is all accepted for the subscription, what you can do, or the reseller then can do, is click on download PDF. And what it does is it brings it up in a PDF document. So this is a professional document which our resellers can then give on to the end users. So you can add your logo in there. And well, as I'm using my Tech Data account, it brings through Tech Data's address. But if I was logged in as a reseller, it will bring through their address. So it's looking like it's coming from them. So what it will now do is it will bring through the end user's details. So it's addressed to them. The subscription details, so the subscription price. Obviously, we've selected this subscription as a quarterly payment frequency. So that will be the price that they'll pay back per quarter. And the payment methods are direct debit, and the subscription duration will be 36 months. It also does give a subscription profile breakdown. So the cost that we saw behind this document for the breakdown, so the per month, per week, per day, per user, per day price as well. Standard TD rules also apply here, so quotation is valid for 30 days. And then the great thing about this document is there's no outright pricing on here. So obviously your customer can't work out how much A, you're buying it from us for, and B, how much margin they're putting on. So it stops them from going round to other resellers and comparing prices and seeing if they can haggle you down to the lowest price. Obviously, they won't be able to know that because they're only going to be seeing the yearly, quarterly or monthly pricing for the subscription document. And yeah, that's about it for this subscription document. And then you then need to click on download document. Then the reseller will download that. They can then add in their logo and then send it out to the reseller, or sorry, to the end user to make sure that they're all happy with it. But for now, I'm just going to click on close. And then that's about it, really.
Perfect. Can you just show the back end process of the portfolio where we give them an update? Is that right?
Yeah. So this is how our resellers would track their in-progress subscriptions. So on the subscription builder, what you'd need to do is click on subscriptions up here, and then it will take you to this subscription overview page. So what you then need to click on is in progress. Then just for a test, we'll go down onto page test here. So we use a traffic light system on our portal to go through the stages. But before I go through that, your reseller would see a subscription agreement number. So this would start with a PC, quotation ref, and then obviously the quotation ref which they've entered and the customer details would bring through as well. And then moving on to the subscription progress bit. So the first bit is the quotation is prepared and customer accepts convert to subscription. So this is basically me or the reseller going through and clicking on entering all of the product details and then clicking on convert quote to subscription. Then as soon as that's all being approved, I would then recommend that you send out the quotation document over to the end user to make sure that they're all happy. Then the next step would be once it's got a green light on that, would then be moved down onto subscription approved. So that means, yeah, the subscription has all been approved from CF, our finance company's point of view. And now they are happy for the reseller now to send on a print agreement document. So there's some other little hyperlinks down here, view quote details, that takes us back to the quote. But to move on for the subscription approved stage, you need to click on print agreement. What print agreement does is it pulls up a end user facing document. So this is all done by either by wet signature or by DocuSign. For your customer, obviously DocuSigns will be a lot quicker because it's all done electronically. So what it will do first of all is it will bring through details of the subscriber. So that would be the end user right there. It brings through all of their pricing, which was agreed on the subscription. Then it will bring through the signatory bit. So on the example that I showed, it would bring through Andy Gass's details here, and then he would need to sign within the signature bit. You can add on a second signature if needed. Then it will bring through obviously the details of the reseller. So Tech Data if they were a reseller, and then checklist for the subscriber. Many T's and C's as well. There's around about 3 pages. So sometimes the end user do like to take their time and go through this all, because they want to know what exactly they're subscribing to and what all of the legal T's and C's are behind, just like any other person would. Again, the final bits are then they would need to put in their direct debit details in here. So obviously their standard banking details and how they're going to be paying for it. And then what it will also do is it will bring through all of the items which were put into the subscription, and asset type, the description, reseller ID, and who will be supplying it. Then the next step which the reseller will need to do is obviously it will pull through Andy Gass's agreement signatory. Then they would be a director, their email, and their phone number. So then the customer would need to click on the reseller would then need to click on send to customer. This then sends this document over via email. And then the reason why they also provide a phone number on there, it's because then the end user gets a security code that then they have to access this document and to fill it all in. So it's all safe and secure. Once they all fill it in and they send it back via DocuSign, it will then go back to our finance company. They will then need to check it through, and then it moves us on to the next stage. So I'll click on cancel here. So the next stage would be that, sign agreement and bank details. So send completed agreement to funder. So that means it's now gone back over to CF and they've all approved it and they've gone, yep, you're all good. So then this is where the interesting part starts to happen, is then the reseller would then order the equipment. So you don't have to order all of your items through tech data. For instance, if we didn't have stock of a product or we couldn't better a price of another disty, worst comes to the worst, we can go, okay, you can add in still the item that you want to get, your piece of hardware or software, but you can go and purchase it elsewhere, because we want to make this solution as easy and as possible for the reseller and their end user. So what would happen is they would go ahead, order their equipment wherever they're going to get. Still standard TD way. Well, if they're going to order it through TD, still they can order it via InTouch, or they can send in a manual PO as it's still classed as a normal order. And then once that's all been done, then get a green little dot there. Delivery and installation completed. So then this stage would unlock. So obviously, the goods have now been delivered either to the end user or to the reseller. In this case, I'm going to keep it simple and go to the end user. So once all of the goods have been delivered to the end user, we will then ask, well, the reseller will then get this little hyperlink button unlocked. This one's not showing at the moment, but what they would need to do is click on C of A. It's a certificate of acceptance document. It's basically just explains, and it means that the end user has to sign it to say, yeah, I'm all happy with these goods. They've all delivered safe and sound. I'm happy now to start paying for my subscription. Let's go for it. So they sign this document, again, either via WetSign or via DocuSign. This now gets sent back over to the finance company. And then once the finance company receives this document, it then moves us on to the next stage. It'll be the invoicing stage. So once the invoicing happens between the reseller and our finance company, then the reseller would then get paid out in full. It could be on day of delivery, it's that quick, of their hardware, any margin which they added onto their hardware, their soft costs and their software. But for ongoing services, they get billed back slightly differently. They'll get either billed back yearly, quarterly, or monthly, as you can chop and change these. For instance, if you did have some call outs, you could chop and change the amount of call outs if needed to be. So this is why they're billed back slightly differently. And then the final stage would be the subscription active. So that now means the subscription's all good, up and running, and the end user's paying for it.
Perfect. Thanks, Elliot. I think just to caveat a bit on the C of A, so at Tech Data, what we've also proved is that if the kit is bought from Tech Data, we will allow the proof of delivery to be the C of A up to 15 grand. So there's no need for a C of A on deals that are below 15K that are bought from TD. It makes it more quicker and easier for the end user to obtain their equipment, the reseller to get the invoice over to us, and for us to pay. Just to elaborate a little bit more, I've had a few questions around HPFS. Is it a multi-vendored finance house? I believe so. I think it is. But again, like I said, our proposition is very different to them, as we are different in regards to residual values based on particular vendors. We also do things quite differently when it comes to software and services. We allow software, 100% software, to be input into our finance, and we also allow services to be embedded into the finance, which is billed and collect by the finance house on a monthly basis. Another question I've got here is in regards to, would subscription payments be managed by the finance company and end customer HP/TD payment standard terms? So the process would be, the bank would pay the reseller total invoice value. So for example, if the total invoice value was 20 grand, including margins and commissions, the bank would receive the invoice from the reseller. The reseller will get 20 grand in their bank upfront, day one. About 10 to 15 days after that kit has been signed by the end user, the DDs will activate, so the end user will start paying their monthly term that they've already agreed to. The reseller also has the benefit of being abided by payment terms with their particular supplier. So for example, Tech Data, although they've got 20 grand in their bank from day one, they still have 30 days or 60, depending on what their terms are, to pay back Tech Data the kit that they've bought from us. So I hope that answers your question, guys. Any more questions? So if we Jay, can you unmute everybody? And if you've got any questions, then Shoot away. One thing just to elaborate and summarize, the proposition that we have is fully education compliant, which basically means that it's had a massive big tick that it abides by education rules. So we will, as the portal has antivirus checkers in it that makes salespeople lives a lot more easier, that if they are doing a school deal, they will not be presenting a non-educational school deal. It's reseller friendly. This portal was made for the resellers. It was made for them to be able to use. It was made for them to be able to be quite agile with it. What we've also done in regards to this proposition is we also have APIs. So we are already API linked in some of the big resellers out there in the market that use our proposition, which is white labeled as their own. And I think one big thing that we need to just elaborate on slightly is that it's a part of a full life cycle service as well. So, you know, we're in the game with new technology. We like to have, we're giving you an option here for new tech where you can offer it on a monthly subscription, but we also are in the field of where's your old kit? How can we obtain your old kit back? And we can also offer you a new line of kit from on a monthly perspective going forward. So very easy, very simple to use. Some stats to throw out there that we've now been properly in the market for just over 2.5 years, coming to 3 years, and our growth year on year, and I'm not lying about these percentages, have grown by 200 to 300% year on year. Any questions?
Sophie, Elliot, it's Dave Hemingway, can you hear me?
I can. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. It's much of a statement as anything. Well, finishing with a question. First of all, thank you, and Elliot and Jay for putting this together. I think in the current climate, with cash flow being a real challenge for both partners and customers, I think it's a great addition with the flexibility and obviously the lead on the market to what we're already being successful in, which is GreenLake and HPFS. I see this as an addition to that kit bag, and thanks. One question I would have is, where do the HP staff and/or our team go for additional help and support? Where does the partner go for additional help and support when they want to make this active, or like you say, white label it with an API link, for example? Yeah, so
first of all, in regards to your statement around GreenLake and HPFS, this is additional to that, but please remember that GreenLake is very different. This does not compete with GreenLake at all. This is a very transparent program from a monthly perspective that we are being true to the reseller and the end user of how much they're paying per month. So we don't compete with GreenLake on this proposition. HFS, yes, it's a finance opportunity. Same thing that we have, but like I keep mentioning, we are multi-vended and the residual values we have are very, very different to HFS. In Help, we have a big tech as a service dedicated team with our bank. We have a dedicated email, dedicated mobile phone, contact numbers that they would contact that team and myself. If you're talking around APIs and white labeling, that'll be contacting myself to work on the opportunity. Who is the reseller? We tend to look at particular resellers that we're going to, 1, white label, and 2, API. So that would come through to myself to make sure it's the right opportunity for us going forward. But I can share out those details with Jay later, and Jay can then obviously echo that to you guys to kind of contact us on a deal by deal basis.
That's great. We'll share that. Thank you. Thanks again, and thanks for the clarity.
That's okay.
Does anybody have any final questions at all? Take that as a no. Well, if anyone thinks of any further questions afterwards, feel free to drop me a mail and I'll get you in touch with Sophia or answer it myself if I can. Also want to apologise for my face constantly popping up. I know that was probably nightmarish for a few of you. But thank you everyone for your time. Thank you, Elliot. Thank you, Sophia, for doing this. Really appreciate it.
That's okay.
Thank you.
Hope everyone has a great week, and we'll carry on. Thank you very much.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.